Hey there everyone, this is Jeff Perkins with JD Cutlery putting together another quick video on some newly anodized ZT0223s. This is my first experience working with the 223 model. It is the most recent of the zero tolerance models that has been released. Everybody that has seen this knife as the production knife knows that this comes with a DLC coated blade as well as titanium handle. So a lot of work has been done to remove all of the DLC coating from the handles. And of course, as we do with everything here at JD Cutlery, we hit it with a splash of color to give you that custom feel on your factory or mid-tech knife. Let's go ahead and run through the specs on this one real quick first. Of course, it's zero tolerance, made in the USA. Overall length on this one is 8.6 inches. Closed length is 5 inches. The blade length is 3.5 inches. Blade thickness is 0.156 inches. The steel on this one is CPM 20CV. And that does have the DLC coating on it. This also has a titanium handle with a tan colored G10 inlay or onlay that goes from each side over the back. The back spacer is done in titanium, so that is a nice little touch for it. And then the pocket clips are steel on this version. The pocket clip is left or right tip up carry. Overall weight on this one is 4.7 inches. So let's go ahead and hit these one at a time. Give you guys a feel for everything we've done here. I am very, very pleased with the results of working on this one. So let's just go ahead and hit these one at a time so you can see what we've done. So this one here has been anodized a nice blue. It is the low voltage blue, about 25 volts. This is just a little bit of oil around the pivot. The anodizing is nice and even all the way throughout on this one. This one has been bead blasted, so it turned out real nice. There is that two-piece kind of back strap G10. At some point, I do have the equipment now to do some Cerakoting. I'm probably going to do a batch of these with some different color back straps that I've Cerakoted, but I haven't quite gotten there yet. Still getting used to the equipment, and I don't want to put anything out until I'm all ready. These, just about all of them are at 50% lockup. So it's a good solid lockup. Of course, you've got that steel lock bar insert centered pretty nicely. And this one I went ahead and had the bronze titanium spacer. They all flip very nicely. So very happy with the overall action on this one. Pretty cool. It fits nicely in the hand. Definitely, I've got a large hand. Fits very nicely. That blade is something a little different. They added some drill out holes here for aesthetics. Can't imagine there was much weight reduction there. So pretty much just for the looks of things. Honestly, don't know how much that weakened the blade overall. So I do like the cutout here. The jimping is very nice and aggressive. The DLC seems to be good quality. I've never had any problem with the DLC coating on any of the zero tolerance knives. It seems to hold up real well. I really like their black wash models. Wish this was a black wash just because it hides all of the wear and tear very nicely. So that is the solid blue. I'm going to jump around in colors here a little bit. Let's see. Here is a more washed out blue that I then gave a nice blue stonewash to. So it gives you a lot of depth. So the blue overall is washed out. Then you got nice bright shots of blue within that stonewash. So kind of giving more depth to the coloring on the knife. And the blue and tan looks pretty nice together. Again, lock up right about 50%, a little bit before on this one. Action on these knives is pretty good. Pretty good and centered here, looking at the tip down at the end. I mean, they do fit nicely in the hand. So, personal preference for me, a miss is that we don't have any lanyard place. You can put a lanyard on here, but then you got to deal with the potential of catching your blade on that lanyard. The lanyard wouldn't get cut, but every once in a while, if you don't have a dedicated lanyard hole, it will catch the lanyard as you go to flip it. So I don't tend to put lanyards on knives that don't have dedicated lanyard holes, and I am definitely a big fan of lanyards on knives. So this is the muted blue with a nice blue stonewash. I'm going to hit all my blues at once. This is a light blue. Again, that is just oil. That is my 10 weight nano oil that's in the pivot and bearing. That's what I use on everything. The knives that you've seen so far are all bead blasted. I only buffed out one of these so far. Again, you've got the bronze backspacer, a nice light blue. Again, really does look nice with with that tan G10 on the back. Lock up on this one again, a little bit before 50%. And this one's a tad bit over to the pocket clip side. I can make the adjustment on that, so not a big deal. They flip really nicely. Definitely happy with the flipping action. It does have the hex on one side and the number 8 Torx, and of course these are number 6 and another number 8. Number 6 is on the pocket clip. So that does the blue lineup. Let's jump over. I really like the way this bronze turned out. Again, just a little bit of oil. This one I did a nice rich bronze and then hit it with a bronze stonewash. It's a little more apparent in person. I'm going to fingerprint this up a little bit so you see exactly how it looks fingerprinted up. But man, you hit this thing with the Windex, and that where you've done that stonewash really pops nicely. It adds a bright color to it. So I'm really happy with that bronze. The bronze with bronze stonewash. Again, lockup is right before 50%. Centering's real nice on that one. And again, the action is real good. So the jimping is very aggressive on this. Definitely feels like you're going to have some serious purchase on that as you go to use it. So I will, as we go along with these, depending on how well they sell, we'll potentially be looking at removing the DLC from at least one of the blades, doing a stone wash and sharpening it on the wicked edge. This one is a low voltage purple. It is a nice deep purple in person. The video doesn't tend to pick up the purples quite as well. This is purple that has been stone washed and then re-anodized purple. So again, you're getting that that extra depth in the color. Video's not picking it up all that great. And then we've got a purple backspacer. I did it to match the stonewash color. I didn't go with the matted or the bead blast color on the back spacer of that one. This one does have a tad bit earlier lockup, probably about 40% on that one. And nicely centered again. Again, that action is good. The blade weight is nice. Kind of like the cutout to the top up here. You've got some sculpting. Definitely did some work to machine that. Give it a nice look. Pretty happy with the way this purple one turned out. And of course you got your steel lock bar insert in there. So you got steel on steel lockup. Won't wear as much as titanium on steel. ZT has totally gone away from that, thankfully. That was always a pet peeve of mine, just knowing how much I flip my knives. I'm a little hesitant to own anything that has a titanium on steel lockup, just because when I buy a knife I flip it and flip it and flip it and flip it. So I don't want that chance of wearing something out. And of course, if you got something like a ZT, you call them, they'll send you a new insert, and you're good to go if you were to ever wear one out. I've yet to wear one out personally. So there's the purple. This one is a kind of marbled green, multicolored green. It's been buffed out, so I wanted to go with a much brighter color. You can see the multiple colors of green throughout this. Unfortunately, the lighting in here is not showing it all that great. It's kind of got a bluish green and then a lighter green kind of marbled through. Cool look. I did go bronze to match the back strap on that one. Really pretty cool looking knife. I'll definitely buff out a couple more as we go, depending on how well these sell. I'm not aware of anybody else that has anodized any of these because of the fact that you've got to remove that DLC coating. The DLC coating that ZT uses is very, very good stuff. I had tried to use some commercial paint strippers and that kind of thing, and it doesn't even touch it. I left knives sitting in it for 4 or 5 hours, and it didn't do anything to it. So you really, when you're getting into these knives that have the coating, like this one, the ZT0450CF, has the black coating. I love doing that one to add the color on the other side. You're either looking at grinding all that DLC off or doing a sandblast to get all that off. And it's a lot of extra work. So there's not too many people that are going to be working on these. And we'll see how well they sell. It is a decent amount of extra work, so if they don't sell well, these might be the last ones that I do. We will see how this goes. But overall, the knife is good quality knife. I do kind of question why we've got the holes on the blade. Was that really necessary? Did it weaken the blade? I'm not really sure. It's a good quality steel. Haven't heard of anybody breaking one in half yet, but I guess that is the potential that's out here. The only other miss for me is lanyard hole, but that is definitely a personal thing. Let's see, we will be doing a couple more of these. I've got one more that I haven't worked on. Then I've got another one that is in process. I got my new jeweler's torch up and running, so I'll be doing some of the snail trail anodizing on some different knives. I'll probably stripe out one of these just to see how it looks. Just finally got all my sandblasting equipment up and running, and that's a need when it comes to doing that torch anodizing to get that nice snail trail going. So there'll be a few more of those coming. We will also have some of the Sprint Run ZT0223s. You've got 2 sprint runs in that I'm in the middle of working on. There are a couple of those posted on the website, just with handle swap outs. So the Tiger Blade has a blue handle instead of the standard bronze, and then the flat black blade has the bronze handle instead of the blue. So definitely some different stuff, new stuff for the ZT lineup. I do also have a number of the Sprint Run 609s that of course we've custom anodized, but they've got that cool black DLC coating, nice smooth, a little bit more buffed out. It's interesting the difference in, so this one is, not that it's rough, but there's a little bit more feel to it. This is a very smooth. So it's interesting that it doesn't show up quite as dark with that smooth buff, but definitely is a nice contrast on the 609 in comparison. There's the 609 that's not got the DLC. So definitely can see the difference there. So check out some of our new sprint runs. We've got some high voltage blues. These were supposed to be, they came in purple. I've got a green with purple high spots, and then I've got a couple of this high voltage blue that turned out really nice. Well, thank you for tuning in. We will see you on the next one. If you're interested in checking any of these out, definitely take a look at us at www.jdcutlery.com. Have a good one.